live from the grooming table. This is special. This is something that we haven't tried before, and I have a special guest I am going to introduce to you. And she's there, a beautiful face, but I'm so glad that all of you are here. We are using the new Go Live Together feature on YouTube, and it's only for mobile phone, but it pairs us both in for a beautiful webinar type setup, and that's what we have here today. So I am Amy Lee, certified professional pet groomer, and it is absolutely my pleasure to share with you the secrets of the pet grooming industry so you can provide quality care to your beloved pets at home. And I have a special guest with me today. Guys, this is Shawn Kent Hayashi from SVCC Toy Schnauzers on YouTube. Shawn, thank you for joining us.
Oh my goodness, it is my just great pleasure to be here with you today, Amy. You've been such an inspiration to me, and to be able to do this with you, what a joy.
It's going to be fun. And vice versa, Shawn. You have impacted our life in many ways, but you have been leading my mom and I very well with our new puppy that we bought from you. And she is fantastic, but we've learned so much. So, guys, what are we doing here today? I'm so glad you're here. You're going to love it. We can help you and your dog love grooming. I promise. That's our mission here today. Thank you all for being here. This is a Saturday, not a Monday, but it's okay. I hope it works for everybody and it will be on the replay, so no worries. In order for you and your dog to love grooming, you really have to pave the way and set the stage for both you and your dog. You have to do that. Understanding and developing emotional intelligence skills is something often overlooked in the grooming world. And I, as a groomer, hello, Grace. That's the mama dog of our Ellie Grace. Oh, I
She
love
was asking to come up and sit behind me. This is where she
I
spends
think
most of her time, and most people have no idea she's there.
she's so loyal. But I think she actually heard my voice because her and I kind of bonded the last time we worked together.
Yes.
Speaking of bonding, we did. Grace and I had great moments when we groomed together and we did bond. And those are the types of things that we're going to be talking about here today, guys. In the grooming world, I can honestly tell you, with training, learning, mentorships, often what is overlooked is how to try to regulate your emotions, like emotional intelligence, understanding your emotions and understanding what that brings to the grooming table. Emotions meaning maybe I'm nervous. Am I going to trim this dog right? I don't remember how to do a schnauzer trim. Oh no, I'm going to fail. And I have a schnauzer on my table. Okay, that brings a nervousness to the grooming table and the dog feels it. We've talked about that the last couple times we've gotten together live. It's a real thing. Your emotions are definitely the ringleader for your grooming sessions for both you and your dog. So we're going to hit these topics hard today, okay? And I have the professional here to bring it on home to us. So today we do have our special guest speaker. This is Shawn. As I introduced, Shawn Kent Hayashi has a YouTube channel called SVCC Toy Schnauzers. And on that channel, Shawn shares pretty much every moment in her days of training dogs. She is a dog trainer and she offers training programs too. She also shares very intimate moments with the dogs, with the puppies as they're born. She has puppies periodically, and then she shows us how she starts training those puppies. Now, no worries, we do have some Wi-Fi issues here. Shawn will pop back in. Let me see if I have to send her. I think she already has the invite. We did a practice run on this the other day and we were having Wi-Fi problems. And I do know that this format of going live is in beta mode right now with YouTube. So maybe that therein lies some of the glitches that we're experiencing. But it may happen that Shawn and I pop in and out. I'm just going to look and see how things are looking here. If that happens, both of us are going to work hard to get right back into the live stream because we have a lot to share with you guys today. There she comes. Yeah, this is just, we were facing this the other day. We did a trial run. See, I don't know, Shawn. I wish I knew. I was just explaining that this format, this program that we're using, it's in beta form right now. So not all content creators even have the ability to utilize this feature that we're using right now. Maybe that's some of the problems we've been experiencing. I'm not sure. But
We
we're
are
going to
going
roll
to
with it.
just keep going through it though. No
We
problem.
are. So, Shawn, I was just giving a quick little synopsis of your YouTube channel, but nobody knows your YouTube channel like you know your YouTube channel. Can you please share with the audience what you do there on that YouTube channel for
Oh,
them? What you offer them?
sure. So at SVCC Toy Schnauzers, we focus on helping set you up for success with your puppy. So I think of it as all things puppy and even dog. It's how to create a beloved family pet. And so I
Hmm.
have a bunch of different playlists that guide you through how to train your own dog, how to approach um, creating socialization for your dog. You'll see there's a bunch of different playlists there. And for those who just like to watch puppies, we've got that too.
Oh, I sometimes just tune in for that reason alone, but I also go there to learn too. So yeah, Shawn, it's wonderful. But what you show there is actually what you do. It's your training programs. You're working. This is a daily thing every day. So it's nice to have a little window into to that aspect of raising puppies, and we get that from your YouTube channel. So I really like it, guys. If you're not subscribed to Shawn at SVCC Toy Schnauzers, I have linked it in the description of this video, and you can definitely benefit from learning from Shawn, and it's fun too. Dogs are so cute.
Oh, thank you so much, Amy. I really appreciate that. And yeah,
You're welcome.
we just love helping people create beloved family pets. And so all the things that we do are in an effort to make that happen. So yeah, come along, follow us. That'd be great.
Yeah, and it comes through loud and clear. Let me tell you that you guys really, truly love. You're passionate about what you do, but you do it for the dogs, and you love the dogs. Guys, Shawn is also a puppy consultant, like we were just talking, who helps people develop beloved family pets, and she's very good at it. Shawn is joining us live here, giving us expert advice on building structure and boundaries for our dogs. Understanding those two things can help us lead our grooming sessions with confidence, which can lead us to love grooming as well as our dogs. Shawn is a dog trainer, so she's perfect and she's got a lot of experience. Together here today, we're going to discuss how to create a safe, comfortable space for your grooming sessions. It's very important. Desensitizing dogs to tools, methods, and equipment while we're teaching them to groom, leading them with confidence. That's what we're going to talk about here today, is how to do that. And it will help you love grooming. So today, Shawn and I hope that you are going to discover the inner pack leader inside of you, which is what your dog needs to detect in order to follow your lead on the grooming table. So, Shawn, can't wait to dive in. Let's get chatty, okay?
You
All
bet.
right. Shawn, you've been working closely with dogs since you were a young lady, maybe even a little girl, from what I understand. You've been working with dogs that long. Can you give us a quick peek into what that timeline looked like and how it led you to create the organization that you operate today?
You bet, Amy. Sometimes people will ask you, what is your very first memory that you have as a person? Well, my first memory, Amy, is from about when I was a little over 5 years old. And at that time, my family lived in a house in Brunswick, Georgia, with a backyard, and we had a beloved family dog named Rags. And
Hmm.
my father decided that he was going to move our family from Georgia to New Haven, Connecticut, into an
Oh,
apartment, in essence, in a concrete jungle on a university campus. And this
oh,
meant
wow.
that
Was,
we were
was your
not.
father a professor? Was he
So
a
my
professor?
father was studying at the time, and
Okay.
yep, so he was getting a master's and looking at getting a doctorate at that time, and we were going to New Haven, Connecticut
This
for
was
his
so this was a family sacrifice for him to do that.
huge family sacrifice. And again, back to this, 5-year-old little Shawn, I remember having to put the leash on my dog and walk down the street to give my dog away because we were moving. And Amy, I remember my father lifting me up and
I
putting me
just
on.
had tears.
I know. I remember my father lifting me up and putting me on his shoulders, and I was just crying and sobbing because I did not want to leave my dog.
No,
And
right.
Amy, when my family moved to New Haven, Connecticut, frankly, it was not such a good move for my mother. While it was a great move for my father, it was not a good move for my mother, and she was really sad and lonely. And I remember, Amy, that all got wired in my brain that like really great families have great
Mhm.
dogs. This, as a little 5-year-old, this was all linked together. And so I had this yearning to have a dog again,
Of
and
course.
this passion to again, it's tied in my head, right? Like to have a great family, you have a great dog, they all go together. And so it was many years, frankly, before I could get a really great dog again. But it I kept hoping and yearning, that prayer, right?
Yeah.
So that realization, even as a 5-year-old, that dogs have this unconditional love that humans yearn for. Well,
Yes.
when I was a young teenager, I had the opportunity. My family moved to a new town, and I discovered a 4-H group that focused on helping to train dogs. And so I joined that 4-H group, and I just felt great excitement. It was like the possibilities, right? And I
Mhm.
wanted
And
to
you're
learn.
working with dogs again. So you were so excited to get started working with dogs again,
That's
having that in
right.
your
That's right. I wanted to learn how to train dogs. So this joining this 4-H group. Well, the woman who led the 4-H group became a really great mentor of mine in my life. She actually influenced me in so many ways, and her daughter was one of my best friends. And they groomed and showed bred English cockers and Gordon setters. And
beautiful.
so the agreement was with my family. Did I go out again? Oh
Yeah,
dear.
it did.
Yeah, let me.
It did. Hold on. All right, Shawn will be right back, guys. I really think it has something to do with being in beta format here because we both got pretty kicking Wi-Fi. Um, and I'm watching it here, and I don't see that it's locking up or anything. Here she comes. Here she comes, guys. Get ready. Class is in session. There she is. Yes.
The agreement with my family and with this breeder was that if I would really take it on very seriously and learn how to train dogs and learn how to groom them to take care of a dog, then I would be able
Hmm.
to have a dog that would become a show dog. And what I had to agree to was to go to the local pound. That's what we called it at the time. Today we call the ASPCA, right?
Right.
And adopt a dog that I would then take care of, groom, train, all of it. And I picked a little Schnauzer dog and I named him Tramp. And I was coached and mentored to learn how to take care of him in this 4-H program. And fast forward, I did a really great job and I was just so passionate about it. And that's when sort of the feeling of my family came back together. We had a big yard again, all of those kinds of things. So that was really special, and it anchored all that emotion in for me again.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
so,
it incited you. It gave you
yeah,
breathed the life back into you.
that's right. But like
Mm.
most of us here today, it gave me that feeling of unconditional love that you get from a dog. And it really just anchored my passion for creating beloved family pets. And Amy, as a teenager, I created a little side hustle business called Perfect Pet Pickers. And I would help families to pick the right dog breed for them. And then I would also help to train that dog for them so that it was potty trained and had some basic obedience. So we could say the
Yeah.
roots of all this started for me when I was a teenager.
Yeah. And with that 4-H program,
That's right.
that's what you got in front of the right people, and you got back. You found your passion, and it just grew from there. Guys, you wouldn't believe the organization that she has with her dogs. And when I say organization, it's just that it's a life. She has an apartment for her dogs in her house. I mean, They have an apartment with a kitchen, a bathroom, a grooming salon. Of course, her dogs are always with her wherever she is in her house, but this woman's dedicated. So let's get
So
down
Amy,
to
Amy, I call that my Montessori school for dogs. It really is. I
it
think of it
is
like a Montessori school to teach them how to be great family dogs.
yes, and you have everything set up. You know, you can work with you train them with agility there, do all your training down there in that location for the most part. It's a beautiful setup. But guys, if you watch her videos, you will see her setup and she goes into detail to explain everything to you. And all this has to do with creating space for your dogs, whether it's grooming or their living space or their whatever it is, training space, you know, it is important. So, the first thing that I want to discuss today is the importance of creating a safe space, a comfortable space to groom your dog, both for you and your dog. It's important to create that safe, comfortable environment. If the dog feels safe and comfortable, if you feel he's safe and comfortable, and it's a relaxing, nice, uncluttered environment, then your mind is already in a good space. So creating that space that's comfortable for the dog is very important because if they're not comfortable, they're going to be less likely to, want to cooperate with you. You may think they're being, naughty today, but it's really that the light is from the sun is shining directly in his eyes and he's distracted, so he's moving around. You're like, "No, I need you over here." He's like, "I can't. The sun's in my eyes." Who knows? They can't tell us. But Shawn, have you created a space in your home to groom your dogs? And if so, has it helped you fall in love with grooming your dogs?
So, Amy, this is such a great question because this is actually how I found you. When we were building in the lower level of our home to be that Montessori school for dogs, I wanted to create a really safe, comfortable grooming area for our dogs and also for our puppies that come back for grooming, right? And um, Amy, I this is how I found you. I found you, Amy, on YouTube, and then I began to binge watch you. Now, I used to call it stalk you, but my husband told me I'm not allowed to say that anymore, and I have to call it I
I had
binge
no
watch.
idea I had a stalker.
Um, so I binge watched your channel to really get a sense for not only how to set up the area, but also
Mhm.
to really better understand the tools. So yeah, I wanted to create a great space for grooming that I would love and that my dogs would love, and that also the other people who come into my space would really enjoy being in. Um, so by
Right.
watching your videos, I got a really good sense of how to do that. And this whole idea about having the right tools to do the job, you just taught me because that really helped me build a deeper level of confidence than I had before because I wasn't using the right tools. I had some
So were you
basic.
feeling you feel your grooming sessions were failing? So maybe it brought frustration to the grooming table then. You're like, why can't I make this work? What am I doing wrong? With that feeling of being frustrated, it kind of you know changes the whole outcome for you and your dog when you're grooming. If you don't have the right tools or know how to use them or have a good space.
That's right. So, Amy, I didn't have some of the best tools at that time, and so when I found your videos and got that direction, it really was a turning point for me. So today I have really great dryer and I have really great clippers and I have all the things that I need in order to be able to be in that space and thrive. I also have hanging on the wall photos of things that inspire me. I have your blueprint hanging up in front of me. I have a mirror that I put right in front of my grooming table so that my dogs can watch themselves in the mirror, for example. Yeah.
That's smart. So you're feeling like the space that you created, and slowly you kept adding to it to make it what you have. And so many of our audience members have done this at home for their dogs too, and they're showcasing that. We have a private Facebook group, and they showcase all that in there and share and talk to each other and help each other build a good setup together. It's a great space, guys, and you are nailing it. I'm so proud of you guys. But they are all are you can just the pride and the joy that they're getting from being able to work in this space with their dogs, and they're seeing the transformation of the grooming sessions because they created the space. Like you said, just having that mirror on the wall, that the dog might actually like that.
Oh,
You
it's
know,
so
even though,
cute. Amy, watching the little puppies see
yeah,
themselves in the mirror and then they'll start playing with themselves in the mirror and they get more comfortable. They start to love being on the grooming table. You know, we start with our little puppies at a very young age and we make sure our teenagers and our adults get access to grooming and grooming tools regularly. Yes.
yes. Well, I can attest to that with Ellie Grace. She fell right into grooming beautifully. Mom and I were so impressed. But what Shawn is saying here, so the first thing is very important is to create a space that's safe, comfortable, and happy. That's something Shawn just mentioned. It's very important. Play some of your happy music, things that make you happy. Because if you're feeling happy, your dog's going to feel that. They're going to feed off of your feelings, your vibrations, from what I understand, right, Shawn? They
Yep.
pick up on our vibrations. So if we're vibing, they're going to be vibing too, right? So that is important. Creating the space, having the right tools, and knowing how to use them is very essential. But that's what I'm here for, guys. So if you struggle and you need improvement, you realize I keep working it as long as I bring confidence and ambition to the grooming table. I want to do this. It's not, I have to do this. I want to do this. Boys, that change everything for the dog, you know. So thank you for sharing that, Shawn. That really just sort of sums up the fact that it is so important, and you have created that space, and it has changed your ability to groom and work with your dogs, and it has made you and your dogs love grooming on in the space you created. Very important. So now that we know that we need an adequate space to experience the joy of dog grooming, how do we train a dog to really enjoy something such as dog grooming? Remember, we are in a leadership position automatically when we perform any grooming methods on our dogs. That is very important. When we perform any grooming methods on our dogs, we are in a leadership position to the dog. So Shawn is also a leadership coach, which is interesting, which is somebody who helps people specialize in leadership development and gain emotional intelligence skills. Shawn is a specialist in that, coaching people. Shawn, because you know a lot and you have you know a lot. I want to know what's in there. You have a lot of experience with training dogs and puppies, and you have success teaching people to develop leadership skills. What advice can you offer our friends here today to learn to lead their grooming sessions with confidence and emotional intelligence in order to train a dog to really, really enjoy and love grooming?
Well, first, I just love this topic. So,
Me too,
yes, it's
because you're
great.
really good at this topic.
Well, like with humans, dogs are seeking what feels good to them and what triggers love for them. And so I'm going to show you how we start with a little puppy. So here's a little puppy. This
It's a
is
great
Gatsby.
Gatsby.
Yeah, this is Gatsby. And so what we're doing with Gadsby, we start out by helping him to really enjoy being touched. So ears and pads of feet and so forth. And we comb them regularly. We
At a
expose
very
them.
young age, right, Shawn? Very
Well,
young.
these puppies are 6 weeks old, but we actually start doing this when they're 3 weeks old.
That's
And
important.
the reason I'm sharing this is you might not have a puppy this age, but I want you to do the same things no matter what age your dog is. Start like we do. So we take look, Amy, do you recognize these? You
That's
influenced me
my
to get
favorite
these.
little 4-in-1 clipper, the Kenchi Flash.
Yeah. So,
I love it.
I bought all these tools from Amy's store. Amy has an Amazon store. If you don't know that already, go to Amy's Amazon store and you'll find a lot of these things. But anyway, so I'll
They
turn,
already know.
yeah, okay. So I'll turn these clippers on and I'll just rub the clippers across his body so it starts to feel good to him. Now, right now I'm holding him in a position that he doesn't particularly like, but it's rubbing those clippers and just
He's
getting him
feeling
used
the
to it.
vibration.
That's
He can
right.
feel that vibration.
That's right. And so what I'm encouraging you to do is in a safe space, not necessarily on the grooming table, in a safe space
Mhm.
where your dog feels comfortable, just introduce them to the clippers. And if you're watching in my puppy nursery on my channel, you'll see we have these out regularly in our puppy nursery. Now, the other thing,
I
Amy,
have seen that.
these were life changing for me because, Amy, I had really bad scissors before and they didn't work well. And when
Yeah,
I bought your scissors, it was like going from a beat up old um, car from the 1970s to going to a Porsche. This is just awesome. And
yeah,
so they make a noise. And so again, it's taking the scissors and just having the noise. And I will clip out their around their eyes with
mhm,
these scissors just to get them used to it so that he's comfortable. So again,
yeah.
that
So
idea, it's
operating the tools around them is what you're saying, and guys, maybe your dog is a full grown dog and is just not accustomed to grooming. These same methods can be applied, just in a comfortable space, just running the tools around the dog, making the sound of the scissors because it makes a distinct sound, and maybe one that your dog's never heard before. The sound of scissors is very distinct. So by doing that, but not making a fuss over it, just acting like, oh, I'm just over here using my scissors. What's the matter with you? I mean, no big deal.
that
And then as we slowly introduce them to grooming for real, it wouldn't be brand new to them.
That's right. So when we're working with dogs, teenagers, even older dogs, it's the same concept. Expose them to very small amounts of time with the tools. And we tend to work with dogs in 3 minute or 5 minute chunks of time throughout the day. And we might have several sessions with one dog. One dog might have 4 or 5 different sessions of 3 minutes, 5 minutes each. So whenever they're being taught something new or beginning something new, that's our plan with them. So we comb these little puppies for 3 minutes. We do nails for very short periods of time. So we might trim a nail or two and then come back a little later and trim another nail or two on these little puppies or on teenage dogs when we're getting them that way ourselves. So it's starting as soon as you get your dog. It's starting
Mhm.
now if you haven't been doing this already. And then it's rewarding your dog with a cuddle or rewarding your dog with a little toy, letting your dog play immediately after
Mhm.
these
But
sessions.
only after they've endured something, right?
Yeah,
Only after, hey, they took a dose of having that clipper around them. They did it well. Let's play.
that's right. So you're
It's
rewarding behavior that you want to see. And this is one of the things I caution people about. Like I coach families with their puppies around this is be careful. Don't just give your dog treats or even playtime unless you're rewarding a specific behavior. So get intentional about why am I giving this treat right now? I want to have seen some great behavior that I'm acknowledging with a yes, good job, yay. And now the dog gets the treat or the whatever, the playtime. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. Can I just ask you real quick while we're in that moment there? And guys, hey, listen, we are going to be answering questions. No worries. I see there are some questions. Just draw a line in front of your question so it stands out to us. We both have a separate chat in front of us, so we will answer your questions. You're probably going to have a lot of questions for Shawn. What I wanted to say about on the reward and the training part is the what we're talking about at this moment is how to lead the grooming sessions with confidence, or not just grooming sessions, but leading your dog with confidence, and that will transform onto the grooming table as well. But so what Shawn is saying is that you would just don't play with the dogs, and there never be a reward, or I mean, let your dogs be playing with a squeaky toy. They have playtime or whatever. But dogs need this structure of I was given that time to play and have fun, and I really enjoyed that. The dog was given that time, and then you're rewarding them with the fun toys and the play and the interaction that you have. But when we just leave our dogs to constantly, play whenever they want, eat whenever they want, there's a doggy door, go potty whenever you want. We've created an environment, but that's not a lot of structure. It's like you live here and I live here. Here's your toys on the floor. There's your doggy door. You need to go poopy, and I'll just keep loading the food in your bowl so you're good. And that poor dog is lacking a lot of leadership in that case, isn't it, Shawn?
Yes, that's right. And so this notion of seeing ourselves as the pack leader, being the pack leader, setting ourselves up so that we really love what we are doing, vital.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, did you have anything else to touch on this topic?
Oh, you bet. I
Oh,
love it.
okay.
So as it relates to in essence the question, what advice can you offer related to leading grooming in a way that triggers us to experience love and joy and high emotional intelligence? Amy mentioned
Yes.
before the importance of music, and I think music is a really great starting point for you. So start with your own favorite playlist. I have a music playlist that I call Accentuate the Positive, because my first song on my playlist is that song called Accentuate the Positive. And
Nice.
it's choosing music that really uplifts you. So for me, things like Zippity Doo Dah and that song that I love, Everybody, Everybody, it's the one about the reminder that everybody wants to be loved.
Right.
Walking on Sunshine. And I would say
I
in
love
the
that song.
music, yeah, in the music that you're choosing, choose words that are vibrationally uplifting, because it does matter. There is scientific research that shows
There's
that,
studies.
that yes, there's studies on this that show
That's
that,
interesting.
yeah, that music at 80 beats a minute Music at
Okay.
80 beats a minute helps us to learn and helps our bodies to heal faster. So I'm regularly playing Baroque music or music that I know is this 80 beat a minute music, not only for myself, but also for my puppies to
Yeah.
enhance learning and enhance body. So this music that triggers us into an emotional marinade, um, that helps us rise in our own emotions, like sit up and enjoy. I think of it as music that you dance to when nobody's watching, just start playing
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And then the next piece that I want to talk about, there are 7 core emotions. And I'm going to give you the 7 core emotions. So here we go: love, joy, hope, and then envy, sadness, anger, and fear. And I want you to think of them as a ladder. Think of them as a
Okay.
vibrational scale. Now, we might use different words to describe the different rungs on the emotional ladder. So, when we talk about the emotion love, I want you to think about the feeling that is the highest level of vibration that you personally have access to. That's that love emotion. And again,
Yeah.
you might call it a variety of different things. You might call it walking on sunshine, or you might call it cloud
Mhm.
nine, or I'm passionate about this. And so for each of those 7 emotions, think about the words that you use to describe that vibrational level.
Of
Um,
love, that feeling, level of feeling,
that's
vibrational
right.
feel. Yeah.
That's right. So, as it relates to the emotion of sadness, I might talk about
Here.
feeling blue, or I might talk about being down, or even shut down, sometimes will be what
Sure.
people use
We
to
do.
describe that.
We do.
So every human being on the planet has access to all 7 of these emotional vibrational states. And so being aware that we are responsible for our own emotional state. Like nobody else can do it for you. You've got to sort of take ownership. So it's watching the words that we use, because the words that we use, the habituated thoughts, the things we're focused on, the things we're thinking about have a huge impact on our emotional marinade. Part of being a pack leader, Amy, you and I have talked about this a little bit before, is realizing that we have a choice about the thinking, the attitudes that we've got going on in our own head. Um, so, whatever it is we're doing, like, wear your favorite thing to do
Okay.
when you're grooming your dog so that you're feeling good about what you're
If
wearing.
I feel good, that feeling of feeling good is going to showcase through in my in my work session with my dog.
That's right.
If I'm
And then
feeling real bad, then may not the
not the
dog may
best
pick
time
up
to
on
do
that.
this. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And then
okay.
get really clear in yourself on what is it that you want to accomplish. Put a picture of what your desired state looks like in front of you. So as it relates to grooming the dog and creating a
Right.
loving space on the dog on the grooming table, think of it this way: take a picture of your dog that you just absolutely love, the image of what you want your grooming experience to create,
Yep,
and put that in front of you and look at that regularly as a guide, as an inspiration. In every
that's good advice. That's
Yeah,
good.
in everything you do,
Mhm.
visualize the end result that you want to create before you begin, because the energy that we start something with has a huge impact on where we go with it. The other piece of that is allow yourself to believe that you can accomplish this. Like the
Okay.
thought that this is a skill and I can learn this skill.
Yeah. So
So
have a lot of confidence in yourself and belief that you can learn this.
that's right.
Yeah.
Imagine, I like to imagine myself creating a really lovely spa experiences. Okay, yes, I happen to love spa experiences, but it might be that you say, I'm going to put a face mask on myself while I'm bathing my dog, and I'm using the spa treatment shampoo, Amy, that you taught me to use on my dog's face. Maybe
Yeah, yeah.
maybe you are bathing your dog in the shower while you're also taking a shower, and then when you get out, you put a really wonderful hot robe on with some scented oil and stuff while you're drying your dog. It's tiny things.
It may this because our sense of smell is a sense, an enhancing sense to our brain, and anything we can do to make it an experience that we can love, having pictures, having an air freshener, or a diffuser for scent for our essential oils for sure, that it enhances your feelings through your senses of smell, sight, looking at the pictures, hearing, that's a sense. It enhances our feelings if we tune in to surrounding ourselves when we work with our dogs with things that enhance those senses. That makes a lot of sense.
That's right. And then we also talked a little bit ago about having the right tools to do the job. But for me,
Hmm.
it's this idea of taking an inventory of what I think the right tools are and then actively filling in the gap. And as I'm filling the gap in on the tools, it's telling the story to myself. Oh, I deserve to have these great tools, and my dog does too. And I'm going to build them in a way that enables me to see this as a reflection, right? So when I use the products that you recommended, Amy, I feel the energy from you and the excitement of what I'm learning with you. And so there's this anchor of the story plot line of how we came to have this thing, or how we
Cool. Yeah.
that's right. So like
Yeah.
I actually have the box that my scissors, and I've gotten a bunch of your scissors now, and I have the boxes on display. And I also put this little card in on display because I just loved the message of it, right? So, love at first cut, this idea of it's reinforcing the story, the plot line, the messaging that I'm
That
making
you're going to
choices.
love using this tool. Yes, it's
Yeah,
true.
and so it's layering in these feel good moments, one experience after another, that's triggering more joy. So it's also giving a dog a massage, and
Eh,
thinking about, I'm leaving the conditioner on for 5 minutes now.
Yes.
You taught me a lot about bathing dogs too that I didn't know. Frankly, I'd been involved in dogs for years and years and years, but the sort of the whole process of how to bathe a dog that you use, that was somewhat new to me. So
Yeah.
now I really enjoy the experience of putting the conditioner on and leaving it on for 5 minutes. And I sort of do this little massage dance while we're
Right.
listening to some great music with my dog. And it's this wonderful bonding time. And my dog sees that I'm having fun. My dog enjoys the experience because I'm enjoying the experience. It's deepening the bonding.
They're picking up on your emotions, and that's how we can lead our dogs with confidence, right? If we do everything we can to build up our confidence by, being excited about the tools that we're going to use, by believing that we can do a beautiful job. And even if it's not perfect, it will improve every time, by playing nice music, by having something in the room that smells good. And by the way, guys, if we're bathing dogs, it's the conditioners and the shampoo. They always have plant extracts and natural botanicals that smell so amazing, like a spa, so that enhances our sense of smell. All these things and heighten our happiness, raise our happiness level, and which in turn is going to crunch down on apprehension and fear, isn't it, Shawn?
There is
It's
some science that shows that actually we can change our emotional state. Yes, indeed.
And that has everything to do with our grooming experience. If we can do anything we can to make that experience a happy one for us, that means we're going to feel that way inside. Our dog is going to pick up on our feelings, and it is going to be a good experience for your dog too. And the more we do this, the more natural it feels to us and to the dog. So the more of these short sessions we have, the more we're bonding with them, and they see this as a happy thing. Like when we go for a walk, do you want to go for a walk? When we say it, we don't say, you want to go for a walk? No, we say, you want to go for a walk? It's a happy thing. We're already introducing it as it's a happy moment for the dog. So that's the same thing with getting groomed. When it comes time to getting a bath, you say, let's go get a tubby, not you're gonna get a tubby. I mean, think about it. The dog's picking up on this. We can make it a better moment for them in their brain, and they can start to associate, you want to get a tubby, with a good thing, instead of, oh, she's gonna try to drown me in the water, or whatever. Shawn's coming back in. So that's the same with grooming. you know I tell you guys all the time, you don't have to use a lot of words when you're grooming, and you don't, because words really aren't the most important thing to a dog as far as leading them on the grooming table. I mean, it's our tone of voice, but I guess in our tone of voice is that vibration more than anything, is what they're picking up on as a positive thing, right, Shawn?
Oh, that is so true. Yes. Yes. You know,
So if
one of the
if they
things I'm
did good, and I good, if they did good and I say good, I they're gonna think they did bad, right?
so one of the things I'm such a big believer in, Amy, is help your dog to fall in love with hearing his or her name. So use your
Yeah,
dog's name when something great is happening, and not when you're scolding them or when you're about to do something they don't like. So, for example, I might call Sweet Tea over and say, Sweet Tea, want a belly rub? Let's belly rub, Sweet Tea. And she knows right away. She comes right over and she lays down for her belly rubs. And it's so fun for me and for her. And we'll do that for a minute or two before I pick her up to go take her to have a bath. And
yeah.
so it's choosing your thoughts wisely with awareness and intention, because thoughts, words, tone of voice, all of that creates an emotional state, a feeling state.
That
So,
makes sense. So think about, if you're thinking about something and you bring that to the grooming table and you're grooming, you're thinking about, I am way behind on my credit card bill. I don't have the money in my account to pay it. But this is what you're thinking while you're grooming your dog. It's going to affect your emotional state. It's going to affect those vibes are going to come out in the grooming session. So try to put yourself in a good mental state before you start working with your dog, thinking good thoughts. That's great advice, Shawn. These are things I never think to talk about. That's why I'm so glad to have people like you bring it to the grooming table, because I overlook all this stuff.
happy to be doing it with you. So much fun. Yes.
If you guys are getting value out of this, smash the like button, and don't forget to go over and subscribe to Shawn if you're interested in what Shawn shares. You and your pets could highly benefit from it, trust me. Plus there's a lot of just plain cuteness on her channel. I can't bring all the cuteness you do. You got me blown away in the cuteness factory on your channel.
I've always got a puppy sitting in my lap. Yes, it's so
I
fun.
know.
This is little Liberty. Yes, Liberty.
Liberty had a litter in October, correct?
Well, Liberty had a litter last year, and we've just bred her.
I
So
thought so. I remember you saying. So we
yeah,
may have a new upcoming litter for Liberty, and they're probably going to be white chocolates.
they'll be white. They'll be white puppies for sure. And Liberty also has blue eyes. So I'm not promising anybody any blue-eyed puppies, but it is a possibility. But
It's
yeah, I
so.
did breed her to a little boy who is also white. So they're going to have tiny little toy puppies. Yes.
Oh yes. Oh my God, I love you. I love being around these puppies and these dogs. All right, guys, back on topic. I know y'all are here for a reason. Let's talk about this. All right, Shawn, I'm sure that you're going to have a lot of feelings on what I'm about to say. So, guys, training always ends up happening on the grooming table, regardless if you are aware of it or not. This is what I know as a groomer. Training always happens on the grooming table, regardless of whether you know you're training the dog or not. What I mean by that is if positive training steps are not happening on the grooming table with the dog, you could be setting you and your dog up for failure. I mean, the dog is like, oh, I'm not liking this. I'm never going to like this. But what's worse than that is you could be sending the wrong message to your dog about grooming in general, period. A message that grooming is something that they should fear instead of love. We want them to love it, not fear it. This could immensely impact your dog's thoughts of grooming, and it also allow them to associate grooming with struggles. So when the dog knows it's time to get on the grooming table, they're thinking, I'm I'm going to struggle right here. I'm going to struggle. My pack leader's going to struggle because they're not sure what they're doing, or I don't know what my pack leader's thinking, but I can tell that my pack leader is struggling. I'm a dog and I can tell it. And that means that the dog is struggling too. If you're struggling, you are leading the whole scene. Okay. Everything you feel is going to be passed on to that dog. So, as we talked last week live from the grooming table, 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry, guys, 2 weeks live from the grooming table, this could create what's known as a fear period. And for that dog, it could take a lot of training to pull them out of a fear period. And they'll get through it. Dogs get through fear periods, but it could take a lot of training to pull them out of it. And Shawn, what are your feelings on fear periods in dogs? And can you offer us professional advice on avoiding fear periods in dogs, setting our dogs up for successful grooming sessions from day one, and keep us from failing our dogs by creating fear periods?
Yes, yes. So it is accurate that something can happen that triggers a dog and causes it to go into a fear-based place. Just like um, humans, love, joy, hope, envy, sadness, anger, and fear, dogs have those vibrational states too. And if a dog gets chased with a vacuum cleaner or something else that triggers it into fear,
Hmm.
you may have to really work on getting it unstuck from fear, just like you have to work on yourself when that happens. So, if you have a dog that's acting fearful, you'll want to create new thought patterns for that dog around the thing that's triggering the fear. For example, a hand sensitive dog. I don't know if you've ever experienced a dog that has hand sensitivity. I
Yeah.
got a dog I got a dog some time ago from another breeder who came to me being hand sensitive.
Hmm.
And he would flinch when people tried to touch his face or even, go over his head. He does not like anybody going over his head at all. And so um, I want to teach dogs to really like hands and hands interacting with them in that case. And so here's how I do that. I use food and I feed the dog, hand feed the dog, and then I also use food to lure the dog into a position, let's say maybe into a sit. So we lure them into a sit and then we teach them, yes, sit, yes, sit.
Okay.
And so on the grooming table, we can also use that same awareness. If a dog is afraid of something,
Okay.
We can use food as a motivator. I would check with the owner of the dog, if you don't
Right.
own the dog, about what treats are appropriate. Like, I have a dog who I can't feed chicken to, so I
Yeah.
never want her to have any chicken treats. But use treats that would be high value to the dog and lure the dog into the position that you want them in.
So if
And
we need them to be standing, we want to try to encourage them through food and reward if they stand.
that's right.
That
So
that's what I want. Yes.
yeah. So, we show people how to teach their dogs in a very specific sequence. So, we start with sit and then we do down. So, we're luring into a sit, we're luring into a down, we're luring into a spin. We're teaching stay, then we're teaching stand. And these are all things that you want on the grooming table. So, if you're the one who's grooming your dog, train your dog in these things, teach them, and use
Yeah.
our methods for hand luring the dog into the right position. Teach them stay, so that when they're on the grooming table, whether you're the one doing it or somebody else is grooming for you, you want that to happen. And this happens in little increments. It happens bite-sized pieces as you're teaching them. Again, I have lots of videos on this on my channel
Yeah.
that teach the sequence and the how. But really, this is so key, because you can help a dog overcome its fears. You can help a dog learn to
Yeah.
love learning, and this is really the key to it.
Well, about the fear periods, because I get a lot of emails from people, and when I'm reading and the struggles they're having with grooming their dogs, or even sometimes it's just brushing their own dog at home, they're having these struggles. Um, do you think they're creating fear periods by the way they're approaching the method that whether it's brushing or clipping nails? um I can tell you my bulldog has fear of his nails. I mean, he literally is panic mode, still
Yeah,
panic mode.
and
I
so
didn't
there's
create it, but I can't get him out of it.
That's right. So we might not have created it. We might have inherited the issue. But
Yeah.
like with toenails, one of the things I do is, when we're cuddled on the sofa or when we're cuddled in a chair, I might be playing with the dog's feet just to
Right.
get them used to it. And I might have the clipper, the dog toenail clipper, around all the time. Like, it's sitting next to the bowl of food. It's
So
sitting
it's
next to
it's in the area.
That's right. And so I'm playing with the pads of the feet all the time on a dog that has foot sensitivity. When
Yeah.
I know that the dog is in a safe space, the space that the dog likes, not just waiting to be
Comfortable in.
on the grooming table. Yeah. Yeah.
Not, yeah, doesn't have to be on the grooming table to work with that, especially if we're trying to desensitize them to it. And I'll tell you what I did last night with my little bulldog. I have nails. Um, and sometimes when I'm watching TV, I do that. Well, that makes the sound of what it sounds like when I clip his nails. I didn't even think about it. So he's laying right beside me asleep, snoring. I'm watching TV and I'm just sitting there going like this. And I see him go, and the fear just came over him. So I would just pet him. I didn't talk about it. I just pet him. He'd relax a little, and then I would just kind of do that. And I was noticing he was paying attention to it. So now that is one of our new practices, because I was able to do this several times last night by his feet, not touching his feet, and he didn't get up. Like, he was like, okay, whatever. But maybe I'm desensitizing him, or I'm working towards it, right?
That's right. Again, think in little bite-sized pieces,
Yeah.
just little increments over time.
Yeah.
Yes, you're
That's
doing
what.
the right thing.
So, but things like that, I guess that's why I shared that example. Because don't think sometimes it can't be the silliest of little things that could be helpful, guys. Like clicking your
Oh,
nail.
that's right. Again, paying attention and being aware, right? Being aware of the sounds we're making and the way our tone of voice is interacting with a dog that's fear based is
Yeah,
so important
and then
too.
watching their reactions to see
Yeah.
if, oh, this isn't, they're not liking it. You can see that. You can clearly see it in their looks, and their ears raise up, or just wide eyed. You can see it on a
Yeah.
dog.
Well, and the truth is, if a dog hasn't been well socialized when it's younger, up to 16, 20 weeks of age,
Yeah.
it is going to have some fear-based things that you as the owner are going to have to overcome. So
Yeah.
learning how to socialize your dog properly in all sorts of environments and with different types of people, this is so important to what happens on the grooming table too, because we want
Yeah.
to help our dog. We want to help our dog to be confident and comfortable wherever they go, regardless of whether it's on the grooming table or somewhere else. And what I love about this, Amy, is here's the real deal. When we learn this for ourselves, we can teach it to our dogs. When we teach it to our dogs, we learn it for ourselves. And so
Yeah.
we can learn to be emotionally intelligent through the act of teaching our dog to be emotionally intelligent as
That's
well.
true. That's true. But how you just said, I guess one way to control our emotions is to set a better stage for them first, right? So if it's a rainy day and I'm feeling it, and I'm gonna go down and brush Big Gus in the shop. Okay, so it's rain. Oh, it's rainy out there. Maybe I should put on first of all something, a piece of music that I enjoy, that's uplifting. Maybe I should go put my hair up. Maybe put a few curls in it first if I'm really feeling that way. In order to make that a better session for both of us. Is that how we control our emotions and bring it to the grooming table?
So, Amy, I use the word inform our actions to inform our actions. So I want my emotions, excuse me, I want my emotions to be able to help me inform my actions. And so when we're in the marinade of love, joy, and hope, hey, keep doing that, keep milking that.
Yeah.
But those other emotions, envy, sadness, anger, and fear, they have a purpose. And their purpose is actually there to help us if we know how to process ourselves through our emotions. And if we know the questions to ask ourselves, then we don't have to be afraid of our emotions. A lot of times
Yeah.
people will feel anger or they will feel fear and they don't know how to process themselves through that by asking the right questions and taking the right action. And then they
Yeah.
themselves get stuck in it. Have you ever met somebody stuck in anger, like
Yeah, of
just
course.
angry all the time, or stuck in fear and they just don't even know they're stuck in it?
And dogs can be too.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And so this is why learning the skill, learning how to process yourself through, learning the right questions to ask yourself. Let me show you what I mean by this. So, anger is really healthy. It's a healthy emotion when we use it to help us understand what our boundaries are, what our needs are. Because
Oh,
what
okay.
triggers
Yeah.
anger is when someone crosses our boundaries or when something,
Yeah.
if I cross my own boundaries, I'm going to feel a flash of anger. And so,
Sure.
learning to catch it in that moment and say, oh, I just noticed I'm feeling angry about that. Now, let me ask myself the right questions. What crossed my boundaries?
Right.
Who do I need to check in with about what my boundaries are? Maybe it's me. Maybe I need to make sure I'm
Yeah.
clear on what my boundaries are. Or maybe somebody else has just really crossed my boundaries and I need to craft a conversation that helps that person to recognize what
The
happened.
boundaries that are crossed. And maybe we can work through it, or maybe not.
And this is the same thing that happens on the grooming table is helping the dog to recognize what you need and what your boundaries are and what the structures are. So there it all
Yeah.
ties together. Fear is the same way. Fear is an emotion that has two faces. And so one face of fear is to help us stop something that we are doing that we need to stop doing. So if I'm doing jumping jacks on the edge of a cliff, if I'm going 80 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone, if I'm about to drink cloudy water
Yeah.
in Mexico, I want to feel fear. I don't want to turn fear off. I want to feel it. And so fear can help
Right.
us.
You don't want to, yeah, I see what you're saying. We need to listen to it, and
Yeah,
but we need to know how to communicate with our emotions and figure out what boundaries, what is the structure of this? Where do we go with it?
yeah.
You know?
Now the other face of fear is it is a message that we receive all the time in our society that you're supposed to already know how to do everything. You're supposed to already know how to use
Yeah.
that software package. You're supposed to already know how to solve this very complex problem. And the fact is, none of us know everything. And so
Right.
having a thought pattern, having a thought process that says something along the lines of, "Hey, I realize I'm being asked to do something new and I realize that it's triggering some fear for me. But let me remind myself, I've already learned how to do some very complex things. The fact that you're listening to this video right now says to me that you have learned English You have learned something very
Right.
complex. And the ability to walk, the ability to run, the ability to make lasagna, all of these things are very
Yeah.
complex. If you can learn how to do those things, you can learn how to do this too. You can learn how to
Right.
be emotionally intelligent. You can learn how to groom your dog. You can learn how to be
Right.
the pack leader that enables you to lead your
Yes.
dog rather than having your dog feel like they've got to be responsible for your emotions. Big mistake that owners make is they cause their dog to feel like the dog has to be responsible for the owner's sadness or for the
For them.
owner's fear.
Right. And the dog feels that burden and that sense of uneasiness because they need to be led, not lead. The dogs don't lead. They need to be led. And especially when you're in a domesticated home. You're in a home. This isn't a canine environment living in people's homes, driving in cars and standing on grooming tables. And the dog's wiring, that's not normal living.
So
So
dogs are
they're
pack
led by us.
yeah, dogs are pack animals just like humans are. And it is natural for them to figure out who's the pack leader. And if nobody's acting like the pack leader, then the dog feels like I have to step up and be the pack leader. And you don't want
Yeah,
that. You want to be the pack leader for your dog. And again, I've got videos that show you how to become the
right.
pack leader
Do.
for your family and even how to have your little kids be the pack leader so that the dog doesn't feel like the dog gets to bully or dominate your kids. Yeah.
Kids, and that's very important. Yes, I know you have some videos on your channel. I've watched them. They're very good. So guys, you might want to check that out in a little bit too. But what I'm saying, and with the dogs here, it applies to grooming in every single way, is if a dog is confused as far as is he in charge or are you in charge? And if he's in charge, he doesn't know what decisions to make. So now he's frustrated and confused. Because when a dog is in charge, he's just reacting to things at that point. We need to lead our dogs, and leading them off the grooming table is how we are going to lead them to love grooming on the grooming table. And that is one of the biggest messages that we're sending here today. But now that we know that we need to bring that confidence through training to the dogs, to the grooming table, to lead our dogs. We know that that comes from training. That's how we start to get good behavior on the grooming tables, because we are training our dogs in every aspect of their lives, not just in the grooming world, not on the table. We have to work with them all the time and be the pack leader. We have to lead them. So, what happens if we lack confidence in our abilities to perform certain grooming tasks like brushing a dog or trimming their nails or performing clipper work or scissor work? If we lack confidence in that, that can be a big problem. The dog can sense it. Now we've got tools in our hands and they know that our vibrations are apprehensive. They can pick up on that. So, Shawn, do you have any ideas and advice that you can give somebody who may need to build confidence executing actual grooming procedures when it comes to working with their dogs and grooming and helping them love to groom with their dog?
Absolutely, yes. And in fact, Amy, this is the same process that I use in my work as a leadership coach and
Ooh,
teaching people how to be outstanding managers and leaders of other people.
oh, I
So,
can't hear this then.
yeah,
The
yeah,
big cookie, guys.
that's
We're
right.
getting it for free. We're
So
loving it.
when we catch ourselves feeling afraid, I want you to breathe in. I want you to take a really big deep breath. And I want you to notice, which type of fear is this? Is this the fear that I need to stop what I'm doing because I'm about to do something dangerous? No. Oh, okay. No, it's not that fear. This is the fear that I'm being asked. Either life is asking me, or I'm asking me, somebody's asking me to learn something new. And so now what we have to do is we have to get into our self talk and remind ourselves. This is where we go back to that idea. Okay, I have learned how to do lots of things. See, fear comes from a habituated conversation in our head that says, I don't know how to do this. I don't know if I can handle this. If I start saying, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can handle this. This is over my head. I'm overwhelmed. I am triggering myself into the emotional
Yeah.
marinade of fear. So, how do we overcome that related to interacting with dogs and grooming?
Right.
I have to change the conversation, the words that are going through our head. And so, the first thing I have people do is I have them make a list. What are some of the things you've learned how to do in the past that you feel really good about? What are some of your accomplishments? Make that list. And again, the fact that you can speak English, the fact that you may drive a car or that you can run, walk, the fact
You've
that you can,
learned those things, and they
yeah,
were challenging to
the
learn.
the fact that you learned how to cook your favorite meal, even making a grilled cheese sandwich or tomato soup has a lot of steps involved in it.
Yeah,
If
you
you
have to learn it.
That's right. If you can do those things, you can learn how to groom your dog.
Right.
And so having that self-talk that says, I can do this and I'm going to do it a bite at a time. I'm going
Yeah.
to practice it. I don't have to do a full groom all at once day one.
Right.
Just like when
Well,
you
that's
learn,
setting yourself up for failure.
that's
And
right.
so
Just
many people do it and they go, I can't. He doesn't let me and I can't do it. And people should stop setting themselves up for failure by
That's right.
taking.
How long did it take you to learn to drive a car? Most people do
Yeah,
not learn how to
right.
drive a car in one sitting. They
Of
take
course not.
weeks or months to learn how to drive a car. I want you to think about grooming your dog in the same way and give
Yeah.
yourself a lot of grace, right? Say, I'm going to be graceful with myself in learning how to groom this dog. So when I got that little dog Tramp from the pound, it
Yeah.
took me a long time. I had to learn how to use clippers for the first time. I had to learn how to use scissors. And frankly, I was not using as great a tools as we have now.
Right.
I wasn't
Right.
using great tools. So get yourself really good tools. Be proud of your tools. Trust Amy. Amy is guiding you in terms of
Yeah.
the
Or if you
steps
have
and
like you have printouts, I'm working on releasing a new printout, which is my 11 steps of to grooming on a little pocket thing. And you can just lay it on your table and it'll be right beside you. And it's cut and dry, the 11 steps. So following guides like that, saying I'm setting myself up for success because I went and got the right information. I have a good guide to follow. I have the right tools. I've built trust with my dog through other training on and off the grooming table. I have what it takes to do this. I just have to get better at it.
that's
So
right.
it's
And
practice.
exactly. And Amy, your videos are great in that regard because they give people access to that. And I know something that you and I have daydreamed about is at some point, maybe even us having some sort of, I don't know, live, maybe even live in person session where for people who really want to come and practice with the tools and practice with some
Yeah.
dogs, setting that up and having you be the coach, the mentor, the guide in that way, or having us do some of that. So whether it's us or somebody else, the idea is that get yourself in there, practice what you want to learn and reinforce, remind yourself, I know how to learn, I can learn this too, and
Yeah.
let that message override the thoughts that say, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can handle this, because thoughts create feelings. Pay attention to
Hmm.
what you are thinking. Now, how does that relate to the dog? Well, the dog is picking up your emotions. The dog is picking up your emotional marinade. So if you're
Yeah.
afraid, your dog's going to be afraid. If you're anxious, your dog's going to be anxious. When you start to feel confident and comfortable, your dog's going to say, oh, I got it. You're the pack leader now, and follow you.
Right. Right. But if you continually have bad sessions with brushing, grooming, bathing, or nail trimming, continually, we're now just creating a situation that in the dog's mind it's a struggle. It's a constant fight. What we do this, it's a struggle every time. So you have to go into it saying, I need to go into it with confidence. I need to know what I want to accomplish here today. Okay, so I'm just learning to groom my own dog. So I want to make sure I give him a good bath, a good blow dry, a good brush out thoroughly. And maybe I'm gonna go for maybe trimming the paw pads today. Let it be a win, because when it's a win for you, it's a win for the dog. And then praise that dog when they get off the table. But if they have terrible behavior, what do we do with that? Do we just kind of, no, how do we handle it when we get through a grooming session and it was not a good one? Do we still give a lot of praise?
Well, I would praise
After,
the things that are working. Praise yourself. Originally the
yeah,
part of this question was, if you yourself are afraid, um,
yeah,
praise yourself for being willing to work through it and be um, committed and persistent. And I think if it's your dog in your home, then
yeah.
once you start feeling anxious or uncomfortable yourself, stop for that session. Don't push that. If
That's
it's
good.
if it's a dog in a grooming salon and you are a professional groomer in a grooming salon and you've got that problem going on, then um, I would say you may need to ask, is this a dog I want to groom in the future?
That's right.
The
This
not
dog
not
that I
all
can work with.
dogs might be the right customers, and you may find yourself saying, if there's a dog that has some real significant issues, it may need to go to a trainer to have
Yeah.
behavioral correction.
And that is, I talked about that in a couple live streams ago too. And I want my groomer friends out there to understand, and I want my pet owners out here to understand too, that if a groomer decides they can't work with your dog, trust that that's the best decision they're making for the dog and for the groomer. You don't want your dog to bite and injure a groomer. It will be reported. It has to be. It's in our state. It has to be reported. Isn't that right, Shawn? If you go get medical attention.
Well, and this is where, when we provide a family with a dog, we give them a manual for how to raise the dog and how to be consistent. And part of that manual also includes tips on how to read the body language of a dog. A dog gives loads of clues before they ever bite someone.
Like what?
If a dog starts looking away,
Okay.
if a
What?
dog won't have eye contact with you and starts looking away just like that, that's an early sign. Panting is also an early sign that a dog is feeling some stress.
Uh-huh.
When you start seeing a dog turn its eyes, it's called wall-eyed. When you start seeing a lot of the white in a dog's eyes, they're getting anxious.
Okay.
Back off.
I love that you're saying this. These are signs that people can look for when they work with their dogs or if they're a groomer. So I'm glad that you're sharing this. That's why I said, what signs, Shawn? Tell us.
That's right. And so I also want people to understand those signs, because if they're putting their dog, if I'm the pack leader and I'm putting my dog in an environment where my dog is sending me cues, I'm uncomfortable, I'm really stressed, help me, and I keep ignoring it,
Yeah.
that's when dogs bite.
That's when they snap.
And that's because we weren't being a very good pack leader ourselves. And I don't mean to be hurtful to anybody who has been in that situation where your dog snapped at somebody, but I promise you, your dog sent you a bunch of cues before that happened. And
Or it happens.
we've got to be sophisticated enough, we've got to be wise enough to catch it so that we don't
Yeah.
do that. And so go back to, if you've got a dog that is really super uncomfortable being groomed, I would strongly encourage you, bite-sized pieces, step at a time. You do it yourself. Help that dog to become
To help it
desensitized,
through. Yeah.
and then help it not only to be desensitized to the tools, but also to eventually get to the point where it actually enjoys or likes what's happening.
Loves grooming.
Yeah.
And they can love grooming, and dogs should love grooming if it's set and if we set them up for that, and we lead the whole session with that confidence that we enjoy it. Like you said, this goes way back to early in the conversation. If we are bringing joy and happiness to the grooming table, you know, that our feelings are of that, our vibrations that we're sending off to the dog are joy and happiness. It is a nice little reset and a place to start from for your grooming session. But I'm so glad you just shared those tactics with us about reading a dog's body language and stuff, because a lot of groomers sometimes don't see it coming. And I just want to reiterate that they need to make themselves aware of what those body languages are. A dog is trying to tell you something the way that they're behaving or looking or something that they're doing. And dogs, when they've had enough, they protect themselves. And I don't blame them. It's just the
Just
way
like
they're.
human beings.
That's right. If we feel cornered too much, we're going to give somebody a roundhouse kick, right? So, yes, it makes sense. They're not being jerks. they're just protecting their lives because they feel that they really need to at that moment. So making them feel they don't have to protect their lives is very important.
It's the
So
pack leader's role. Yeah.
the pack leader's role, and that's part of this big message here today, guys. So once we've established a comfortable space to groom our dogs, and we practice leadership during grooming sessions to guide our dogs towards learning to enjoy and love our grooming sessions, and we've worked through our own battles with emotional fears of grooming. So now we're getting it together here, guys. What you will notice next is an automatic bond growing between you and your pets that you may not have noticed before. So you're bonded to your pet, but now that you've created the space, now that you've brought confidence and gotten your own emotions in check and realized how to lead this grooming session, now you're going to see some automatic bond growing further between you and your pets as you groom with your dog. When you perform even just brushing, if you just brush them and take them to the groomer, that's fine. You're bonding significantly and you're taking care of their skin and coat needs, which is what you need to do. I've experienced this bonding not only with my own dogs, but I've also experienced it with my pet clients, guys. And it is very special. I've seen it happen. I've seen pet clients come in, I start working with them. Of course, the bond isn't there yet. It's not. I got to tread lightly. I got to build it. I got to try not to confuse the dog. I'm trying to make everything as clear and concise as possible for this dog as to what we're going to be doing and what we're going to be using to do it and who I am, and you can trust me because I actually share space with the dog when I'm grooming. I always keep a hand on a dog when I'm grooming, and my hand, I never thought about this until our conversation here today, Shawn. My hand is giving vibrations to the dog. Is that correct?
And it's a
I just had an
confidence.
I just had an aha moment. I learned something big today from Shawn. I often wonder why it is if somebody's struggling with grooming, often I can go and put my hands on the dog and do what I had to do, and the dog goes right to this. It's the vibration coming from my hands from my feelings. Man, I have butterflies in my stomach right now. I just had an aha moment. I never knew why that was. I always just thought, oh, I know what I'm doing. That's why. It's my own confidence. But it's not only my own confidence. It is confidence, but it's also me knowing I got this. And that comes through when I'm touching the dog. Dang. Woo! Guys, you just witnessed me have a big moment here in my grooming career, something I never realized. I just realized it all from this conversation with Shawn. So I learned so much. I'm so happy. Okay. So after we've created all this and we see, pet groomers see the bonds that they're having with their client pets, that tells you how bondable these dogs are when we want to work with them, guys. And imagine if it's your own dog. It's very easy to bond to you. So this is how we learn to love grooming, guys, by building those bonds, by covering all those bases, creating the space, building the confidence, controlling our emotions, getting practice so we're better and more confident at what we're doing, and seeing the results as a better bonding experience through our dogs is one of the results. Another one is just that we're having better behavior, better cooperation from the dog. We're more confident. We're happier with our work. We have made progress. So, Shawn, can you add any validation to that as far as how the bonding is going to become bigger because you brought confidence, love, and joy to the grooming sessions? So, can you validate that on how it continues to build the trust between the person performing the groomer and the dog itself?
Oh, sure. You bet. That is absolutely the case. The more comfortable and confident we are in ourselves, the more our dog is going to reflect that back with us and to us. This is why you walk into a situation, or I walk into a situation with a dog, and I'm confident in what I'm doing. I believe in what I'm doing. I know it works. Likewise,
Yeah.
you're the same. And so you and I can do that with a dog, and that bond gets established pretty quickly. And you are so right. Owners, pet owners, as you start to take on that role of being the pack leader, you will feel it. You will feel your dog's trust. And you will feel
Yeah.
that sense of unconditional love that goes back to what I mentioned when I started off here, is that at 5 years old, I realized dogs have that unconditional love for us, and they want to give it to us. So, be present to that and be respectful of that as the pack leader. So,
Yeah.
I think
And
about
feeling
how
those
how they,
bonds grow. You
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
you
how
can grow your bonds even more by continuing to build upon the trust, right?
That's right. And the whole respect piece in that. I'm thinking for a moment about the importance of rewards, the importance of acknowledgement. We all love to be acknowledged. We all love when somebody tells us we did a great job or that kind of thing.
Right.
You pointing out what your dog is doing well, you affirming your dog, you having the structure and the boundaries that enables the dog to be successful, and then you give it praise and you acknowledge it, and having training and exercise is vital for dogs. And so
Yeah.
teaching them to do what you want them to do and providing exercise. So some of the ways that we provide exercise here, we teach dogs to do tricks like roll the ball and jump through hoops and things like that, and they
Right.
love that, and that builds a deeper bond with them because they're having fun with it. So structure and boundaries
And
are
with
first.
you directing them, like you're directing them to do things that they are actually having fun doing.
That's right. Structure
You're
and
like,
boundaries
roll
are
the
the
ball, jump
first.
through the hoop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, roll the ball,
Mhm.
jump through the hoop, and they wobble on the wobble boards, and they love that, and then they get a
So
reward.
cute.
They get
It
a
is cute.
yeah, they get a reward in the form of perhaps a little treat or a cuddle or an opportunity to play a game with us like fetch. We call it get your toy. But so building in these rewards, and then the love and affection that comes later, the love and affection of being able to sit in your lap because they've already had their training session for the day. And again, this
Right.
just keeps building the bond, and they really will trust you. They will do what you ask them to do when
It
you've made the
continued.
yeah.
So if we now want to move into the grooming table tomorrow and do some brushing, we're continuously working on our trust and our bonding through our structure. Our structure is what was it in the order? An
So
ex.
there's three pieces to it. So the first one is structure and boundaries. And
Right.
an example of structure and boundaries that gives it to you really visually is, think of a dog playpen for a minute. The boundaries of the playpen are really clear. Within the playpen, we have a place for their bed, we have a place for their food, we have a place for their potty pads. We're creating structure and boundaries. And then we help the dog to know, yes, you're being successful with this structure and boundaries. Yes, good job. Good potty in the right spot. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And they get fed in the
We
same
created
spot,
it.
and they get hand fed, and they get trained in the same spot. This is structure and boundaries. And then the next area, the next category, if you will,
Mhm.
is training and exercise. And every dog needs some training. They need some mental stimulation, and
Yeah.
then physical exercise, depending on the size of the dog. So my dogs are small enough that they can get enough physical exercise in our home
Oh yeah. Right.
by
Kids
playing games and
play
such with
inside
them.
with their dogs.
That's right. But if you have a bigger dog, you may need to take it out for walks or runs. If you've got a really big
Hmm.
sporting dog, that dog needs to go out and really run. And again, this
Yeah.
is bonding. This is bonding time. This is giving the dog what they need, and you being the pack leader to make sure that they're getting it. And then love and affection. And all of this applies to the grooming table, in that you're teaching the dog on the grooming table, this is how we behave. On the grooming
Yeah.
table, this is what to expect. Setting all that up as early as you can with little puppies, teenage dogs, as soon as you get them.
Right. But most of the work is happening off the grooming table, guys. It's very important that they understand that. You don't just plop a dog up on a grooming table and say, well, I know you trust me and I'm feeling pretty confident. So why are you fighting me? Well, because they don't understand what they're doing up there, and they don't understand what that tool is because you've never introduced it to them at all. And, their senses, they're it's a vibrating tool. Well, their sense of of hearing is very keen. So they're hearing this, and they're like, oh God, I don't know. You can't throw them into it like that, guys. You have to build the structure and the boundaries in their life every day, and then continue to build that structure and boundary on the grooming table when we're teaching them to endure grooming. And you will end up loving working with your dog, and they will love it too because they know you're happy, because all the emotional cues are there saying that you are. You can't lie to them. You can lie to them through your words, but your emotions tell them the truth. So there's that. Well, we have to get to some questions too here. How about Shawn? I just want to ask you real quick. I threw this in last because your dog training ability. What are some other ways to build trust, structure, and boundaries with a dog off the grooming table, other than exercise? Is there anything else they can you give examples that people could think, oh, I would be able to do that, to build boundaries, trust, and structure.
Sure. So, having the daily rituals with your dog to do the training routines that we show you how to do on our channel. So, it's the luring them into the sit, it's the down, it's the spin, it's the stay, it's teaching them those basics. And um, the things that you do, the norms of your household, how to
Hmm.
interact at the front door, for example. How do you
Like
want a
to not
dog?
go at it like this whenever somebody's there.
Yeah, how do you want your dog to engage with people at the front door of your home when somebody's coming to
Yeah.
visit? Or even at the back door of your home when going out? How
Yeah.
do you want your dog to interact with you when they're getting their food bowl? These are
So
things
this
that
is all practice. This is practice training, is what you're saying. This is all building structure. Practice how you want to structure this to happen every time you do it. Every time somebody comes over, practice. What is the structure we want to teach this dog? When we take the dog outside for a walk out back, practice that structure. It's training, it's learning. I don't want my dog pulling me out the back door. I want to open the door and then say, heel, and have him come with me. That's how I want it to go. So teach him that. That's another way to practice and train and build structure and boundaries and trust. These
teach
are
your
examples.
teach your dog to be a beloved family pet. And yeah, we show you step by step how to do that. And that translates directly onto the grooming table. And it's
Yeah.
also it's a reflection of your emotional intelligence. So it all ties together here.
All weaves back in the same web. Guys, don't forget Shawn's YouTube channel is SVCC Toy Schnauzers. It is linked in the description below. You would really enjoy watching it if you haven't already. I know a lot of you have subscribed to Shawn and you're enjoying it so much. But if you haven't, I want you to know I got you covered. It's linked below. And I'm subscribed and I watch it every day. In fact, I like to start my day off watching one of Shawn's videos when I get up having coffee, whether it's training with a dog, training with a puppy, whether it's just seeing what the puppies in the nursery are doing today. It's a great way to start your day.
Aw. Well, thank you so much, Amy. I have to tell you, being here with you is always such
Oh,
joy. I just love hanging out with you always, no matter what
I
we're
do
doing.
too. And I'll tell you, we all learned so much here, Shawn. Should we answer a couple questions?
Of course, I'd be happy to.
All right. I see we got some rolling in here. We had a couple that came through um, on the community post. So why don't I just give that one out here? And while you answer that, I'll go ahead and look for another one. This here is Ann, and I think Ann joined us in the chat. If I saw, Ann says, I have two-year-old 4-pound golden doodles. So they're little dogs like yours. So she says she has two-year-olds, 4-pound golden doodles. They're brothers and they're neutered. And she says they were basket cases at the groomer. So I started home grooming 6 months ago. Okay. They
Good
squirm.
job, Anne. Woohoo!
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
great step because that says that you weren't afraid to do it yourself and you said, "Hey, I recognize I want to be the pack leader and I don't want to put them in a place that's going to cause a lot of
Hey,
stress for them."
for them. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. She says they squirm. Now, this is when, since she's been working with them, and probably what happened on the grooming table with the groomers too. They squirm, they pull away, they stand up, etc., and it's a constant battle. Their size is very small, which makes it hard to groom, and I can contest to that. That is true. It is very hard to groom a tiny, petite little dog. Tiny little feet, trying to shave in those paw pads. She says the tiny feet, etc., are hard to secure on the grooming table. What is the best way to tether them? She said the slip lead that you use in the tub looks great, but I can't find one that isn't a cable or stretchy. Well, they're not supposed to be stretchy leashes on the grooming table because you don't want that. You don't want a stretchy leash on the grooming table. What I suggest to securing your dog properly on the grooming table is with the groomer's helper. Shawn, you use it. I saw it on your grooming table. I see you use it in your videos. The groomer's helper will properly secure them, and I have lots of videos on my channel that show you how to use it, how to safely keep your dog on the grooming table. I have videos on my channel about that. So you have your regular grooming loop, which is a groomer's helper loop, and it has a D-ring here, and you hook that to the arm, and you want that pulling down away from the trachea, not pulling up. This is hooked to the grooming arm. This is hooked down. I have videos demonstrating it, so I'm not going to get too deep on how it looks, but it works. It's safe. Your dog can't spin around, and they know it. Do you have any other anything to say about the differences that you saw when you started using the groomer's helper, Shawn, for your dogs? What was the difference in that harnessing system?
So again, I heard you recommend it, so I bought it, and it makes a big difference with a dog that you just want that extra sense of security for, where you're putting the dog in the place. It's teaching the structure and the boundary that you want for the dog. And so I
By
also,
having them,
that's right. I also have I call it the front part of the groomer's helper and the back part. I have the back part as well that helps the dog to stay standing. So if I'm doing
uh-huh.
something by myself and I don't have any help, I will hook that part up so that the dog stays standing if they get squirming on me. And so in the situation that you just described with your little tiny 4-pound puppy, I would definitely use the groomer's
The
helper
groomer's helper,
and the back part of it too to keep them standing.
it would help to keep them standing. Yeah, they're only 4 pounds. They're very little, but yes. So the more secure they feel on the grooming table, the more comfortable they're going to be on the grooming table. I've always preached that with you guys. So make it as, that's why I say make it safe. Safety means properly securing your dog. Safety means properly securing your dog on the grooming table. So I see a lot of people, well, I don't know why you just don't let them stand there. They have to be hung up on a noose. I don't hang a dog on a noose. I'm not an evil person. I have them there so they don't jump off the table, break their skull, and die. That's why they're on a grooming noose. That's why they're properly harnessed to the table. And I want you to properly harness your dogs on the table too, because one accident like that, and you're digging a hole in the background for your dog because you were grooming it. What a horrible, horrible situation. Prevent it. Keep your dog safe on the grooming table. Always have them harnessed on the grooming table. And sometimes we have another person helping us, another set of hands. Well, that's our harness system then. Okay, so we've got hands on the dog. But just always look out for their safety. It's very important. I'm just taking questions that are on topic here. There's a lot of questions about grooming, but that doesn't apply to what we're talking about here today.
So, Amy, I found a question here that does.
Go for it.
Janelle asked, why not bring the puppy to the grooming table while acclimating him to the clippers so the puppy also becomes familiar with the grooming table? Oh, absolutely. We
Yeah.
start puppies though at 3 weeks with having the clippers running over their body, not actually clipping them, but just getting them used to the vibration. We start
Yeah.
them hearing these scissor noises, right? At 3, 4 weeks, as soon as they start to hear, we've got this kind of stuff going on. And they're too young yet for me to be putting them on a grooming table. So
Absolutely.
I'm building up in bite-sized pieces, but you will see us in some of our videos coming up where now that this group of puppies is 6 weeks old, it's 7 weeks and 8 weeks, we will start putting them on the grooming table for just a few minutes, not for long
Yeah.
periods of time. And we
I
will
have
bathe
seen
them.
videos of you doing that, and you are desensitizing them to that new boundary,
That's right.
which is the grooming table. I've seen your videos doing that with these puppies about 5 weeks old and stuff, and you're not doing much grooming, but you do have the tools on. You do have the dog up there in the space where you want them to acclimate themselves to for
Yeah.
grooming.
And
So yes,
it helps them to overcome that fear conversation in their head so that they're not saying, "Oh no, I can't handle this." Oh, I've done this before.
that's
I
right.
want to get them saying, "Oh, I've done this before," in little tiny bite-sized pieces so that by the time they actually go for a full groom, they're ready.
By the time they go for the full groom, we've given it to them in doses.
Yeah.
And that's what I talked about with my members with my puppy plan. I created a puppy plan that's available to my members only. It's a downloadable plan. And if you're a groomer, you can use it for the puppies that you start grooming. And if you're a pet owner, you can use it to take to the groomer and say, this is a puppy plan I want to follow. Or if you groom your own dog, you follow that puppy plan. And it basically has what you're doing this week. And in between what you're doing off the grooming table is continuing to handle your dog. But when we're bringing them to the grooming table in those sessions, they're frequent, they're quick sessions. One session will be a sanitary trim, brush out on and off the grooming table. The dog's done. The next one is a bath and a condition. The next week he comes in. They're coming in like every week. You're desensitizing him slowly to all the tools and the processes of grooming, while at the same time we are nipping away at all the grooming needs till we get to the grand finale, which is his full groom in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
That's what we're working up to.
So here's another question for you, Amy. Becky Renner asks, "Can I safely clip my dog's armpits if they're matted?" And so, really, I would say, how can I safely clip my dog's armpits when they're matted and still have my dog enjoying and loving the experience? And I know, Amy, you have some really great videos where you actually show what you're doing with one hand, and then you show lifting
Yeah.
and with the other hand. Yeah.
It's a two-hand game, guys. Grooming is. I can pick that out when I watch people groom sometimes that are learning, and I see that this hand is just kind of out here in left field. I'm like, get that hand on the dog. Get that hand holding up the dog. Get that hand holding the paw gently so you can work with it. You have to be using that other hand all the time. So in those matted armpits, that can be very dangerous because the armpit skin itself is loose skin. Those are called danger zones. There's several of them on our dog. Their flank, which is under their belly, that skinny tag of skin that connects to their leg to their belly, that is very easy to cut with a clipper or a scissor. The armpit is very easy to cut with a scissor or a clipper. So is right here at the base of the ears, where the ear connects to the head at both the top and the bottom of the ear. That's a danger zone. Okay, so what I mean by that is it's very hard. It's easy to nick them or cut them. You can slice a dog wide open with a clipper. Don't think you can't do it. Okay, so what do you do when they're matted in there? Well, definitely want a clipper like the Flash Kenchi Flash that Shawn has right in front of her. This clipper has such a smooth blade on it. I like this one better than even the Flash 5. And I said that recently, and people were like, what? I said, I do. Because it's the blade. It's the blade and the angle of this blade that I like so much about this clipper. So having that clipper on maybe a 3 speed, set it to your blade size. I want you to use a 10 blade only in the armpit area, never higher. The armpit skin is easy to irritate, cause irritation because it's tender, soft skin. So when you have a matted area and you're trying to shave it out, I want you to use maybe the corner of that clipper to slide in under the mat and slide out. You want to pull the dog as straight as possible to straighten out as much of that loose skin as you can. That's the key to not clipping it. Now, don't straighten your dog's foot out to the point where you're hurting him. You always want to consider their comfort, but you want to pull that skin tighter so that you can avoid clipping it. And you're going to have to nick around in there with the corner sliding in under the mat. It's not easy clipping a matted dog, guys. Typically, I tell you guys, um, mats are mats are because the grooming wasn't done often enough. Whether it's brushing, if there's mats in the armpit, that means his hair has grown that long. That means this dog hasn't had a proper haircut in a while. That's a fail. I want you guys to succeed. I don't want you to deal with mats. If you and your dog are dealing with mats as a beginner groomer, you are setting the stage for the dog to hate grooming, which is how we began this conversation. You're having them groomed in a state where you're not even capable of doing it. You really aren't good at it yet. But now you're trying to groom what expert levels do, which is, it takes a lot of skill to be able to safely and confidently and comfortably shave a matted dog. It takes skill. So if you're shaving out mats, if you got mats, you already need to rethink about tightening up. You're making a routine for you and your dog so they don't become matted. It's so important because you could ruin this whole for them forever. Because you're not even sure what you're doing trying to demat a dog with a clipper or with scissors. And ask the vets. They see plenty of accidents from people at home trying to remove mats from their dogs, and the dog needs stitches. I don't want you to go through that. I want you to take care of your dog's grooming needs and not do it when it's 2, 3 months overdue. You've failed your dog at that point. Don't fail your dog. They love you and you love them. You got to do it. Shawn, do you have anything else you'd like to say before we? Oh, I have one more question that was in the comment. Um, Judy says, I would like to know how to approach my pet because I know during my pet's last grooming he wasn't the same. So I'm not taking him there anymore. I need to gain his trust in me. So it sounds like Judy would like to start grooming. A lot of people think that their groomers failed them, and that's what I'm hearing from both of these comments. I'm not going to get on board with that thought process completely. My thinking is you failed the dog first before you took it to the groomer because you didn't have them acclimated to any of this. You just take a dog to a professional grooming salon at 6 months old and think that this is going to go well. And I don't want you to think that it is. It's not going to go well for your dog. The groomer can get through it because they know how to do it, but it's going to be a challenge and it could leave a mark on your dog mentally about grooming. So Judy says, I know something happened there. I don't know if that's true. I think the dog may not have been brushed, bathed, groomed often enough. He wasn't the same. So now I'm taking him in and going to do this myself. I need to gain his trust in me because I prefer grooming him over anybody else since the last experience. Well, good. I'm excited for you to groom your dog. You need to be on your A game. You need to be on your A game. So the question is how to approach this, how to approach my pet grooming at Shawn. Need to gain trust. See, that's why I'm saying you took it to a groomer and you haven't even gained his trust yet with grooming tools. So don't blame it on the groomer. This
Well, and
person,
Amy, this is what this whole video is all about,
that's
and
right.
I love how this ties it all together. So I'd say go back and rewatch the video
Mm-hmm.
because if you rewatch this, I think you'll have some aha moments about, oh, as the pack leader, here are some things I can be doing to help my dog be prepared, rather
Yeah,
whether I'm the person
so
grooming it or
important.
someone else is grooming the dog. Yeah, you're setting yourself up, you're setting your dog up for success being on the grooming table. And Amy, this is why I just love working with you so much. We are both committed to really helping be solutions focused,
Sure.
helping people grow, helping learn. We love to learn ourselves, which is why here we are using some new technology within YouTube to keep ourselves learning and growing. And I would say I just encourage people to do that for themselves and for their pets.
Right. And follow the advice and the format, the outline that we gave to you guys today. Judy, that is how you build trust. This exact what we talked about today. And this is how you build trust and learn to love grooming. And you can do it. It doesn't matter how old your dog is, and it doesn't matter if your dog has had a bad experience. It sounds like he's had an experience that he didn't enjoy. You can change this just the way we talked about it today, with building trust, setting structure and boundaries in the grooming table, keep building that trust, praise. You can do it. So that's how you do it, Judy. And we wish you the best because we know you love your dog and your dog wants to please you. So that means you're already in a position to succeed. So, Shawn, we're going to end this live stream because I'm pretty sure you're like, I got things to do, but we're so glad that you spent this time with us. I mean, you gave us almost 2 hours of your day, and it's been packed full of information that has changed our grooming experiences from this day forward. And we really want to thank you, Shawn.
Well, thank you, Amy. I'm so grateful for all that I have learned and continue to learn from and with you. So we will say to be continued.
Yes, we will certainly be doing other collaborations, guys, to help you build the trust, build the structure and bonds with your dogs so that you can have great experiences and love to groom your dogs just the way it's meant to be. It should be a dreaded experience. I am so happy that you have all taken time out of your Saturday to be with Shawn and I. This is going to take the place of our live stream on Monday. So I will not be seeing you live from the grooming table on Monday, but I will see you 2 weeks from that. I believe it's February 13th. And I am working on having another guest speaker come in just like this, and it would be a groomer. So the groomers can talk about different things that we can offer you from our grooming experience to be able to work with dogs, but as professionals. So we'll see if we can get that done. It's in the air right now. Everybody has to check schedules. So I'll be there with you February 13th, live from the grooming table. I love you guys. I thank you for coming here and for supporting Go Groomer, for supporting Shawn at SVCC Toy Schnauzers. We appreciate that. And hopefully we're bringing value to your lives too, because that's what we want to do. That's why we're all together. We're better together. We're all better together. There's a bunch of
Woohoo!
fun.
We are
Yeah,
better
that's
together.
right. We are. So I will see you guys soon. I love you. Have a wonderful weekend. Shawn, I love you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank
Bye,
you, Amy.
guys.
Bye bye.
You're welcome. Bye.